got the Wonder Man glasses going on. I just watched that. That one's
Mhm.
actually pretty good. It's also a short watch too, in my opinion, because all the episodes are 30 minutes. They're not an hour like
Wonder
every
Man?
show
I
is.
have no idea what you're talking about.
The show that just came out.
Yeah, no, I don't really watch things.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. I was like, what? I can introduce you to a
Yeah, I'm
good friend of
behind on
mine,
the
Patrick Starr, who lives under a rock. You might have something in common with him. I'm just kidding.
yeah, I like Patrick. He's a good friend.
Seriously, I thought the show was quite good, but we're not talking about Wonder Man. We're here. We're gonna talk about table politics in Marvel
Oh yeah.
Champions. That was the whole point. Now we got back onto it. I'm Char. What's going on, guys? The normal intro. Well, we are here with introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm Daring Lime. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about the game, and that's about it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
made a handful of videos, and I made a tier list that has a website. That's probably
Oh,
the most important things about my channel.
yeah. Check it out. That tier list is fun, definitely to mess around with. And you've been adding features. It was dormant for a little bit, but you've been adding stuff again. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like the team generator stuff and the team like analyzer.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like, brought it together because I was like, I need to make something out of it. I have 63 heroes or whatever, however many
Yeah.
there are rated across 15 categories. I might as well do something with it.
Table table politics. Yeah, we're talking about multiplayer. This kind of came up. I don't. It's kind of been in a couple discords I've been in, a couple chats I've been in. I've just kind of been bouncing around, kind of an idea here, an idea there, and they all kind of culminated under this idea of table politics and multiplayer. This is probably a term you see in like the Magic space, the trading card game, like Commander. People talk about this all the time. Because that game doesn't function unless table politics exists. And if I'm gonna give like a brief definition of what that means, it's just like people at the table who are in the game, playing the game with each other, come to agreements or disagreements amongst like multiple aspects in order to like make the game work or play the game. It's a really roundabout definition, but it'll make more sense when we get into this. So I think the first one we want to talk about is my number one tip for playing with new players or people you aren't familiar with in this game or anything. If you have like a pickup game, you're playing online, you're at a convention or something, you should have a bit of grace, and that's something that I've always had. And so I've played with people or I've encountered people that don't follow this, which is very negative experience in my opinion. So I just put consider the following on here that when you sit down on a table with people that you don't know, you've never played before, everyone has different levels of skills and experience with the game. Everyone has different backgrounds, and this was a big one for me when I went to the con for the first time that I was primarily a solo player. And even though I feel like my decks were good enough to compete, I played with a lot of people at the con who I would say in an objective sense, their decks weren't good enough. There was like big mistakes in terms of like a very obvious one is like trying to play like a one way or another or clear the area in a four-player game. Those cards really don't work at all, in my opinion. But again, you need to have grace and try to use it to like you don't have to try to teach them to be better, but it's important not to like belittle them. I don't really know where I'm going with that. Third one is different goals. Sometimes people come into a game and they have like they want to do their one combo and they want to do that, and it's gonna lower their output a little bit. And someone, if you're an optimal person and you're sitting next to that person, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this game's gonna take like 10 years. That's okay. It's just one of those things that it shouldn't. I don't think you should really negatively impact the other person for like trying to enjoy the game because then you're just kind of taking your bad experience and rubbing it off on them. So I think the number one thing is just to use clear communication and have fun.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. When I play multiplayer, I pretty much just chill out and kick my feet back and like, you know, just let people do whatever they want. I really I don't say anything about like people's choices or anything like that unless it's just like a really simple thing that they could change that helps them a lot.
hmm
Other than that, I just like roll with it.
And I think that's the I think I would say the vast majority of people that I played with as well also did that. There was just a couple of kind of and it was kind of like not necessarily to their faces. It was kind of like it's just weird. There's some weird energy around some of the games I played and kind of comments made after playing games with people where it's like it's almost felt like punching down, which I don't think should be have any place in kind of like a community like this. It was just really weird. Which is why I wanted to open
Yeah.
with this. Have grace. Everyone wants to have fun. Everyone is at different stages of how good they are, whether they even want to improve. And I put quotation marks around that because sometimes they might be a much better player than the decks they play. Like maybe they like, oh, I know what a good deck is. I know how to play good decks, and I don't want to do that, right? So it's like it's one of those things where you don't know people's experiences, and to belittle them past that is just not a good look.
Yeah, another thing is I really, especially in 3 and 4 player games, I really don't mind losing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like for me personally, I would rather just like not try to hyper optimize everything and not be commenting on everyone's decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
just like if I lose, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like as long as it was just a fun time along the way, I'm chilling.
We'll move on to the next. So I want
Yeah.
to talk through this next
Oh yeah.
topic here, which is the always be clearing. And this one came up when I was talking. Well, I just watched your latest video at time of recording about you playing in the current environment, and in the Sentry I like came up in that video. And then it got me thinking about this always be clearing. And I am admittedly a player like this at heart, but playing in 3 and 4 player has made me not this person way more than I was in the past. So for a quick just reading through the slide, is like many people come from like the always be clearing kind of mindset in solo, especially where it can cause conflicts when players at the table want to choose a direction to go with during the game. And so what I mean by this is there's kind of a game speed versus board clearing are at odds almost the entire game until the very end. And what the biggest example of these in multiplayer is where this how always be clearing can hinder game speed is when they want to clear off an acceleration icon. In 4 player games, an acceleration icon you could almost ignore the entire game, and the game probably would not be different for it. Very rarely you lose off of like one scheme. It happens. It does happen. And if you're going on like a 10-12 person game, um, it can have an impact, but usually multiplayer games are under 10 turns, right? So you can ignore an acceleration icon for a turn or two. Another one is clearing minions without guard and patrol. If you have like a minion in front of you that's going to like deal damage to you, or do something that's really negative that'll result in a player KO, obviously you should get rid of it. But like if you're flipping down and it has like a one ski minion, like it doesn't matter. You could help someone else with their minion who's staying up. It's like one of those things, right? What do you think about this
Yeah,
mindset?
in multiplayer side teams especially because they scale up so much more than like minion health and stuff like that. I I'm I'm really like not a clear the board kind of player in
Okay.
multiplayer because like when I think about it and it's like there's an acceleration icon out. Let's say it has like 3 per player threat and 4 player. It's like
Mm-hmm.
12 threat on that acceleration icon side scheme.
Mm-hmm.
If I could throw 12 off the main scheme on my turn, it's gonna take like 12 turns for that
Mm-hmm.
to go up. That's like the whole game. And then like
Yeah.
even hazard cards in multiplayer, it's like like you kind of assume like maybe the villain gets 1 extra activation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it really worth like spending your entire hand to clear that side scheme, or like
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like 1.5 player hands to clear that side scheme, where you could just like throw down a Maria Hill and just block the extra attack that comes out?
Right.
Like, oftentimes not. The only thing that am horrified of Crisis in 4 player though.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Crisis, like, it's really funny because in solo it's like hazard's really awful, acceleration is like kind of bad, and Crisis is like it's just situational whether that's bad. But then in multiplayer, it's like you really do have to like be chipping away at the main scheme over time, and
Mm-hmm.
the Crisis can really get in the way. So yeah, I sometimes stress out the people I play with them when I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, like that doesn't seem like a very big deal. Let's just
Yeah.
let's move
Yeah.
on. Also, I really like playing Star-Lord, so that might be linked.
Anyways, let's talk about what the card is on the side, Sentry. And I thought this was a really funny thought experiment because, in my opinion, this is a card that will give the always be clearing people kind of like aneurysms, in my opinion, because like when he comes in, he does something very kind of bad in 4 player. Like he brings out a side scheme with 12 threat, but then you have to look at it through the lens of, well, if you grab one with an acceleration icon, that's kind of nothing, right? Like, even though it might pain the people you're playing with who want to clear everything, the amount of value you would get off of him, like you said, even if you use him to thwart every single activation off the main, it would take that acceleration icon, what, 10 turns to equal the amount of thwart he's doing. Obviously, you're not going to do that. You're probably going to attack with him more often because it's a higher stat. But it's just one of those things, and the kind of the thought experiment that got me thinking of this, where it was like, I find it's kind of like that reverse solo versus four players. I find like this ally's even better if he just drops 6 threat on the main, whereas in solo he's so much better if he just grab like a 3 threat side scheme, right? Like
Yeah,
it's basically
absolutely.
negligible. He thwarts it for 2 and it's left with 1. You can probably get something off of clear the area, like I don't know, like a clear if you're playing justice, like a clear the area or draw off it with a skilled investigator. Like I think this card's very cool for solo in my opinion. And I think he's a bit less good in multiplayer, but I still think he has a home. And I don't know. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, because like I think it's sort of like it's really scenario dependent how he goes because there's I don't have them like memorized off the top of my head, but there are a lot of side schemes that aren't per player threat that are
Right?
like
Yeah.
really really good targets for like one way or another in Sentry and multiplayer, and then a lot,
Mm.
especially with the newer designs, like a lot of the newer scenarios, they have more so like flat amount plus like hinder, like one per
Hmm.
player, which is a lot more manageable. So sometimes I think he's fine for getting the side scheme. And like what you're saying, like depending on the side scheme, you might be able to just ignore it. So yeah, it's really situationally dependent. I had another thing that I was going to mention. Oh, the table politics. Since this is like a table politics
Yeah.
thing, the so one thing that so like I mentioned that I was like really like chill
Hmm.
when I'm playing, but
Hmm.
there is one thing that like kind of it doesn't necessarily bother me, but it makes me not really want to play like 3 and 4 player that often. Is
Right.
just how long the game takes.
Yes.
So like a card like Sentry, like if someone's like looking through and there's like 5 side schemes to choose from, and it's like those kind of cards like Sentry and Blindfold and like Global Logistics
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff, where you're trying to think through like what's going to happen in a 4 player villain phase, takes so long to think
Yeah.
that through, and like too many of those things stacking up, and it like really increases the game length
Hmm.
past the point where I can do like multiple in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like so for Sentry, like I don't know, I don't really decisions like that unless it's like
Hmm.
really really obviously there's a wrong choice. I sort of just like choose one and then move on. Which
Right.
I don't know if that might stress out some people, but then on the other side, like I imagine I'm not the only one that's like, oh no, like Domino and Magic and are at the table, and then I'm gonna be sitting here for like I'm gonna be sitting here with my with like my Peter Parker deck, and I'm gonna
Right.
play a swinging web kick and an ally, and then just sit there.
Pass. Yeah, and pass, right? Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's kind of where this kind of first one came from, where there's a lot of criticism where there's ballooning game time for sure. And like you said, there are certain heroes and certain cards you play that can exponentially increase that. So I still think it's one of those things where always I think my number one motto is to have grace, but I don't blame people for being like, man, this is taking a bit, right? And so I think that's a point where you can come in with like a helpful suggestion is what I would refer to it as, and just be like, or just say like the one you pick doesn't super matter, right? Like it doesn't super matter, like if you have a way to clear it or if you guys are winning the next turn, like the one you pick doesn't super matter. Let's just like pick one and continue, right? So again, it's always that point of you can be. I'm not saying you shouldn't be frustrated at people for like doing things that are quote unquote annoying you, but what I'm saying is you should constructively adjust it to, like you said, when you play a card like this, you just pick something, right? Like if you're not losing the game off of it, just like pick a side scheme. Like it doesn't really matter. Um,
Yeah, because it's weird for me. Like I wouldn't I still wouldn't probably say anything ever because like I don't like the amount that it bothers me when it takes like 20 minutes to play one player phase versus like just getting along with people at the table. I'd much rather just like get along. It
yeah.
would just I get really really tired after a 3 and 4 player game sometimes. I'm
Okay.
just like, well. I wanted to get through like 3 scenarios on of the campaign, but it looks like we're gonna only get through one.
One, yeah. So what I would say is that in my experience, because I can kind of be there with you sometimes, and I would say for me, the only thing I notice is that I take the burden, and I don't really mind doing it. I usually run every single villain in every game I play because I can play the villain phase like this. Like I know, like I'm just gonna like do this. Are you blocking? No. Okay, next person. Are you blocking? No. Okay, scheme. Okay, like I
I've
can
noticed that in our
play.
multiplayer games. You're on top of it in the villain phase and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I've played. It's because literally every single multiplayer game I've ever played, I've probably played the villain like 90% of the time because like I play it fast because I love the game, but I agree with you. There are certain cards or there's certain lines of play that can slog it up, and that's another thing that I think we'll talk about kind of in the homebrew or like home rule section where um we will do we will like break the call and action rule even to like activations if it like doesn't matter. So like for example, someone wants to do something in their alter ego and they're like, I'm just gonna recover out of turn order because my activation doesn't matter this turn. Stuff like that doesn't matter because it speeds the game up, right? Like when it gets to their turn, they're like, okay, these are the things that I actually, need. These are the things that actually needs to be my turn to do, rather than
Yeah,
and like using their action.
yeah,
Let's say
that's a
they have
good
an
point.
action to like search their deck. They don't even call for it, right? They're like, all right, they'll just say like an off note. I'm looking for a card. Like I'm using my action, right? Because we're just trying to get the game going, essentially.
Yeah, especially if you have like a recurring play group, that
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense. Because that is a different. Because there's a big difference between when I'm playing with my girlfriend and one of my best friends.
Right.
And we've played through like we've played through every campaign in the game
Yeah.
in 3 player, and it's like it's a very different experience than like if I'm going to like a game store and it's like I'm meeting people
Mm-hmm.
for the first time. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's very different.
Yeah, and that's why I say like again, when you're playing with the new people, your games will take longer. But as you maybe you guys work and learn and talk a little bit, you're like, okay, we can speed it up. And it's just like, let's say they're going alter ego, be like, oh, you could do your action if you want, right? Not like telling them to do something, but like maybe they're like a solo player and they're like, what's calling an action? I didn't know what calling an action was until like, I don't know, it had been a while. I had never played the game in multiplayer outside of like once or twice before the con. So let's go to the next one. I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but this one will be interesting because I don't have a ton of PvP experience, but you do, so you might have a bit to say on this. You have a little, you
I
have
wouldn't
more
say
than
I have a
me, I'd
ton,
say.
but I do
You
have a
have more
small
than
amount of
you have
PvP
more than
experience.
me, which is almost
My
zero.
my PvP experience is I played yesterday with
Hmm.
someone that I met in a game store, and we played um
Hmm.
we played one game of like one versus one PvP.
Hmm.
Uh, and then I watched the Fantasy Flight live stream where the designers were playing against each other in a 2v2. And yeah, it is extremely slow. It's very,
Yes.
very slow. It's like the
Right.
designers who like, they probably know how it works better than most
Hmm.
people that are sitting down to play PvP for the first time. I think that's a pretty sure thing to say. And it's
Yes.
like it was like I wasn't looking at the timer, but it was probably like 30 minutes to get through like a player phase or something.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they're like they were chatting and stuff too, but like it was very, very long. And then in my 1v1 game that I played, it was yeah, the it took quite a long time because like what you're saying, like I can't do literally anything in a PvP game
Hmm.
because like, there's certain cards that like people can play at different times. They need to be aware of everything I've done.
Hmm.
Um, which means that it takes a lot longer to go through all
Yeah.
of it because it is more competitive and it's more serious. And then there's like the rules scenarios, like the rules lawyering is like I wasn't playing like a super like cutthroat game with them, but so
Obviously.
like we weren't
Yeah.
like looking up the rules 1.7 to go through all the timing charts.
Yeah, see, that's what I was gonna say, and that's why I say this is mostly PvP eccentric kind of table politics because I think PvP inherently introduces way more table politics to the game, depending on the people you're playing with, the vibe of the setting. If you guys are doing like a tournament for fun versus, I don't know if anyone would ever run a tournament for money. I highly doubt it. But if anyone would do something like for fun, sometimes people take that more competitively, right? So maybe you do sit against across from someone who's like, well, you should have recovered before you flipped up, but I'll let you do it because there's no new information on the board. Versus, let's say you like played a card, right? And like you saw new cards and you have new information. I could see the camp where they're like, well, actually you have new info, so sorry, right? Like I could see either side of that, and it's like weird because it's not a thing in this game, right? Like that's never been a thing. If you're playing multiplayer, right? Essentially, most people be like, oh, I wanted to recover before I flip up, and you could like as a joke, if you're close with someone, be like, no, you can't do that. You flipped up already. Like obviously you're not serious, right? But like in a
I like
PvP
doing that
game,
with like the super pedantic
yeah,
rules.
yes,
Like just like
exactly.
jokingly being like, well, actually, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. So
Because
that's
of
how I was,
rules
yeah.
reference 1.7 dash subsection 4.2 or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it matters with kind of the energy you bring to it. So this is I'll go to a PVE because I think you covered PvP pretty well. I'll do a PvE specific example where it's like I will be playing with players a lot of times who maybe aren't as into the game as I am. That's like the way I'd put it, where it's like I know most cards like actions, hero action, alter ego action, right? And some of the people I play with don't. Like there's more than multiple times where people are like, all right, I'm gonna drop a suit up and they're in hero form and I'm like, well, you can't do that. Like you actually can't do that because it's like the balance of the card. And like it depends on how close I am, right? Cuz it's like, well, do I want the game to speed up and just let them play the suit up because it's like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, or do I like let them know so like when they play it in the future, like this card is balanced in the way that you have to go down, right? Or you have to play it the first turn. Because like if you could play it, I don't
Yeah,
know,
that's
like
the kind of thing where I don't think I'd say anything, but like
okay.
that is reasonable to say something about as well.
I
I know,
mean,
but that's why I was saying I'm just really chill because I'm like, yeah, I
yeah.
probably would just hang
well,
out.
well, that's the thing where it's like for me, I don't think it comes from a place of caring about playing a perfect game. It's more that I think
The perfect
that
game in
yeah,
multiplayer is a a figment of
yeah.
our imagination.
Exactly, and it's one of those things where like I don't think I mention it. I mention it because maybe I want them to be better, quote unquote, whatever that means, or I mention it because I want them to kind of like think about kind of like why the card has that restriction in a way. Like it's a weird way to try and phrase this, but like there's just like cards with very obvious restrictions that are there for balance reasons. Like a Moon Girl's another example of that where I've had to
Yeah,
tell people where I'm like, I really don't care if you want to play it this way, go for it, but you can't play it in this form. Like you have to flip, right? Like that's like it's just like one of those. It's like one of those things that I do bring it up depending on kind of like the level, and I don't know where that level or that gauge where I'll bring it up and won't is, but I don't know.
I do sometimes. Like there was a section where like I had like it was after rules 1.6. I'd like deep dived the rules, read them all, and like been like really like
Hmm.
into the rules for my gameplay videos that I was making. And then when I would go to play multiplayer through the campaign with my friends, it was like, okay, how are we doing this? Do I say something if the rules come up or not? Because like I just want to see what you guys think. Because sometimes it's like funny to be like just like going over all the like super pedantic rules in multiplayer
Hmm.
as like a joke. But then other times it's like, no, we don't really want to do this. But I think that yeah, just like asking of like how do you want me to say anything about the
Yeah.
rules or do you just want to chill out?
Yeah, so I think when you get more familiar with the play group, right? I think naturally these kind of come up more easily and more often. Like I have kind of a consistent play group that I go most weekends, and it's not always the same number of players. We have about like 8 people who swap in and out. But usually because we play with each other and we like know and we've been improving at the game. Again, I put quotations around that when we play the games, we kind of like hold each other accountable, right? But that's like how we play, right? We'll be like, well, like you can't do that, or like maybe you want to sequence it this way, or like your sequence doesn't actually work because of this, or that. And like that's something that everyone's kind of have like an agreement on because like we kind of want to like challenge ourselves, right? Like to beat something that's kind of difficult. Our most recent one was actually defeating Venom Goblin because that's not a villain I play a lot, and he was actually pretty fun in 4 player. It was really a good
Oh,
time. And
I have a question
go
like
ahead.
with an example. I want to see your thoughts on these two.
Okay.
Of like what about this scenario? You're playing with someone
Okay.
and they do something like let's say they use make the call on white tiger
Mm-hmm.
and then draw two cards. Do you
Okay,
say
yeah.
anything?
Oh
Because it's
man.
like that's only from hand, and like you're not playing it, you're putting it into play.
I
Like, do you
think
say something there?
I think yes, I think I would. I think it's an important rule to learn because I think it comes up in way more situations than just that. I would say yes, I probably would.
And then what about Ant-Man, Hank Pym not working with double resources with
Oh,
the
see,
power of
that's the
leadership?
one. See, that's the one where my I think I wouldn't bring it up because I don't agree with that ruling because I think it's dumb. So like that
Yeah,
one
I
is
could
like
see that.
I that's the one like I know the ruling and then we'll get into like purposefully breaking the rules in a second. But like that's the one where I'm like no, I just another one that I do play with is like how I kind of infer what the designer intent is. And when you read like Vision's card and kind of like how they changed the setup rules from when he released to now, he was supposed to start with 6 cards in his hand, but he doesn't. He starts with 5. And it's really stupid. And I'm like, I'm not gonna start with 5 cards in my hand and flip my form to draw a card. I'm just gonna start with 6. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's one of those things where it's just like I'm not gonna draw 5. I'm just gonna draw 6. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I that's like purposely breaking the rules for me. And I let people know I'm like, guys, we're gonna cheat this game because I'm not starting with 5 cards in my hand. That's what I always say.
Yeah,
Like
like what about Wolverine's claw? I think they changed this one, but like whenever Wolverine would hit the table before it was like officially changed, it was really funny. Like, oh well, you drew into your claws, unfortunately, so you're playing Wolverine with no claws now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like that's the thing that the setup rules had to change because of their new designs, and then it's kind of something in the past gets kind of shuffled and messed up because of it. But again, I think it's important to rules lawyer responsibly, aka not at all, unless you kind of have a bit of rapport or you think it's kind of important. And for me, like I don't have any kind of social anxiety kind of bringing it up because I don't do it from a place of you're playing wrong. I do it from a place of I don't care. You can play it that way if you want this game, but like this is kind of how it works. If you want to know, or I'll ask them sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. It depends on the case. I have my own internal
Yeah,
clock for what I think I would bring up and what I wouldn't. There's like a lot of like really small things that I don't bring up because I think trying to explain something really minute kind of goes into that game flow thing where you kind of like bog it down and it's like just not worth. Like the difference is so negligible. It's like taking one less damage or taking one more, and if they end the game with like 8 HP, it doesn't matter. Like if they never hit one, it doesn't matter.
yeah. I think of like how status cards like go before like your forced interrupts get to trigger and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if you have like a tough status card and you have energy barrier out, and then someone takes a chip damage and then they like use the energy barrier instead of
Mm-hmm.
knocking the tough off, that kind of thing. Which like that's an interesting one actually, because like that one like technically like is
Yeah, that
you're
one
not allowed to do
matters for
that because
sure.
the status
Yeah.
card is faster, but it's also such a small thing that feels so bad. Like I wouldn't want to ruin someone's day with that. Of like, oh yeah, goodbye tough status card because Ultron drone hit you for one.
Yeah. Wait, that's a good point. Where if I think I'm gonna ruin somebody's day, I think it actually does factor in that I don't bring it up. That like I'm less likely to bring it up if they were like building to something and they're like, I had this whole line planned out from last turn, and then I'm like, oh, that just like doesn't work at all. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, you got it. Like I'm not gonna say anything like
Yeah.
it,
I think sometimes like there could be like a guard minion out or something that someone
mhm,
forgot about, or like I think it's easier with like patrol or something,
mhm,
like a patrol minion's out and you're playing like Miss Marvel, like buff
mhm.
up the thwarting events, and you
Yeah.
like spend your whole hand and like remove like 20 threat from the main scheme or
Mhm.
something, then you realize after that there was a patrol minion.
Yeah.
Like in
I
that case, it's just like, can someone retroactively have like imagined that we like took out that minion before my turn
Yeah,
started?
I think that's all I really have to say about the rules lawyering. Like I said, just do it responsibly. Don't be annoying about it. Is the number one thing. Is the number one thing. Just don't be
Yeah,
like,
I don't
no,
know. I
I'm
feel like
not
I'm
gonna play the game because you messed up the timing interaction here for one more or one less damage. Like I don't know. In my opinion, at least.
Yeah, it seems like you might be a reasonable amount of rules lawyer, and then I'm just not doing it at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would rather none at all than like, I come from like, like you said, like competitive TCGs, and man, the rule sharks like the worst. Don't be that person, man. They got like a they got like a kind of stigma for a reason. But like I said, if you're in like a play group, be that person. If you guys are like holding yourself to like the highest standards, go for it. If we're looking at like the pickup group advice, it's not a good look to be that person. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, rules lawyer with caution.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay. Oh, this one's interesting. I don't think we've touched this at all. I want to talk about table captaining a bit, which is something that I think when I was kind of starting off in multiplayer and playing kind of like one, two, even three player, I was kind of guilty of this until I realized like I should not be doing this. I didn't do it all the time, but I was doing it more than I'd like, which is essentially trying to take control of the game, which is like trying to make everyone play the optimal move or like make better plays. And what I would say is that not everyone is receptive to this. Most people aren't, I would say, spoiler, but some people are, and it's just most people just want to play their own game. And again, I'm going to reiterate, it's table by table, and you should just talk about it. Table captaining is really weird. It's a thing in like board games too, where like you want to play a cooperative game with people, and if you're playing with real people, like play with them. Like I think you were talking about this a bit earlier. Like let the mistakes happen. Like let people learn through doing. Just let people play their game because unless you are like you're doing like a specific challenge, the people, or you guys are actually going to like lose the turn that game. I mean, again, even if you're gonna lose a turn that game, you could just still choose to ignore it and then scoop it up and like reset, right? Like that's also an option, but it's just not a good look to be like, okay, you should do this, you should do this, you should play this card. Like, show me your hand, play these cards. Like, I've been to tables where people are just like, all right, well, just let me see your hand. Because, like, the guy was making bad plays. I'm like, dude, like, what the hell is going on? Like, no, like, shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion. And,
Oh yeah, that's cringy.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just like,
I'm this is something that's interesting because like I really am not a table captain because
okay.
it is to me like if I wanted to like hyper optimize everything and try to do everything I wanted, I would just play four-handed, which I never
Right.
do because that doesn't sound fun to me. Like it's so much nicer when especially after I played the game more and I started like with the like the daring difficulty I made. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
response of like how I was getting bored with a lot of the villains because I'm like, oh, there's like I don't. It's so lame when I just like know if I'm gonna win or
Yeah.
know if I'm not, or if I can't lose. Like the games where I know for a fact exactly how it'll go, like multiple turns before it ends, are like so boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when other people are there, like it immediately changes that because it's like I don't know what the other person's gonna do, and I'm not controlling all of their decisions, and like I'm actually playing with someone. I'm
Yeah.
not just playing two-handed with like trying to like show off, be like, actually I know what the correct play here is, and like don't I look really smart when I know what you should do with your hand? Like that's
Yeah.
not at all what I enjoy. Like I like it when other people do things different, especially when it's like not especially when it's just a choice too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really like it when it's not even like a correct or incorrect play and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just wouldn't have done that line that you chose to do, and I think that's really interesting. Um, and then I guess I'm personally receptive to this. Maybe not as much with like other people be like maybe this table captain, not in the sense of people telling me like, oh, you missed, like you could have done like two more damage if you did something in a different order. But
Mm-hmm.
like I do feel like kind of like put out when like I make a choice and I just do my turn and I like had a fun time on my turn. And then other people are like trying to like undo what I did and like be like, no, okay, so like you should have
Yeah.
done all of this instead, and they
Yeah.
like try to undo everything I did. I'm like, why am I
Yeah.
here if
Yeah.
you're just wanting to like do my
Mm-hmm.
turn for me? Like that's happened in other board games as well, where I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to play if a multiplayer game if other people are just gonna sit there and then tell me everything I had to do. Like I'd rather just like play my cards, have a good time, and like if I make a mistake, just that's fine. Like it's not about
Yeah.
winning 100% of the time, especially in co-op games. But yeah, this one, I don't know, this one got me fired
Yeah.
up. I have so many
Yeah.
emotions about
Yeah,
this one.
I think you made a good point where it's like again, it's not always that you're making an incorrect decision. Sometimes there is just no like correct decision, and I feel like it's even more annoying when someone tries to point something out. Then because it's like, well, like my hand can do like two, three, four different things, but like none of them is in this game state, right? None of them is like the right choice. And I think a good example, like you said, is like the biggest argument against table captaining is like I feel like you learn a lot from seeing how other people play. There's been times when people have played like heroes that I'm not super familiar with, or like played cards I'm not super familiar with, and like I'll have a guess in my head. I'm like, oh, this hero likes to do this. I assume they're gonna do this or this turn, and then it's like, oh, I had never even thought about doing that with this hero, or I had never even thought about like this play line or this combination of cards. And I think that kind of like emergent kind of like thought process you think about the
Yeah,
game when someone else is playing is really cool and goes away if
that's
you're
another
the
reason I
guy
like Star
playing
Wars so much.
forehanded. Yeah, go ahead.
Because like with a Star Lord, there's never 100% optimal play because you never know what encounter card you're gonna get.
What could go
So it's
wrong?
like, was it worth it? Like,
Yeah,
there's always a chance that it was worth it, and there's always a chance, unless you won the game on that turn, that it wasn't worth it. Which
yeah,
I really like characters like that.
yeah. I think there's a
Deadpool's another one. I really like
um,
Deadpool too. Like, do you want to add the acceleration token right now or not?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I really like that for those types of characters.
I would say that I think a way to table captain that isn't super annoying, and this is something that I've kind of pivoted to. Again, I was never that person where I'm like, let me see your hand, I'm gonna play your turn for you. But I would be like, do we really like want to do that? Like when we looked like we were kind of close to losing, but in retrospect, I don't think we were ever really close to losing. I was just like in always be clearing, going crazy with stuff on the board that I wanted gone. So like reevaluating that, what I found that it's worked really well, and kind of like the people I played with, if is to just like kind of talk about what you guys want to do that turn. So like you've just been through a villain phase, you look at the board and they're like, do you need this minion cleared? Do you want to clear this minion? Do you guys want to try hitting this side scheme? And like it lets people have agency to play their turns while also like having a shared goal if you guys want to make progress in a specific way. And it's like again, like it's not table captaining. You're not playing their turn, and sometimes they'll be like, "Well, I don't really want to do that. I want to do this," and like, okay, that's fine. But it's like you can have that dialogue and be like, "Let's knock out this side scheme." There was one time in the con that was there was a really big moment. We were playing a super long Green Goblin game, and I was kind of like on the onus where we were kind of just like dragging our feet for a million turns because he has all like the overruns and the minions, and like he's putting threat on the main, so we're constantly thorning his main and the side schemes of the minions. I'm like, you guys want to just like try hitting the villain? And so we hit the villain for like 3 turns. We didn't scheme out, and it was just like we won off of it. And it was like, see, that's like an example of just like it wasn't like in a negative way. It was just like we should just like change our strategy unless you guys want to just like clear minions and scheme for 2 more hours. I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm like kind of fine with that. It's not like an issue, but it's kind of like almost like a
Yeah, I
paradigm
really like
shift.
just going for it because it's like in solo, especially because there's like less upkeep with one person, there's less
Mm-hmm.
communication, there's less like wait dead air time and stuff. So like you really can like play a fairly quick game of Marvel Champions where you clear every minion and every side scheme as it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
When 4 player, like you could literally do that all day. Like
Mm-hmm.
Captain America, of just like
Yeah.
clearing everything. Like, yeah, no, there's never gonna be a minion alive ever, and there's never gonna be a threat on the main scheme, and then you'll get like 3 damage a turn onto the villain. But you do have to just like, especially when it's a difficult scenario,
Mm-hmm.
um, sometimes you can't deal with it, and you just have to go for it and like just risk it. And I really like those games where it's like, yeah, we have to like give up on
Yeah.
controlling everything because we just can't. And I really like those.
Yeah. I
Another
think
thing,
it.
like with the table captaining, what I do with my friends when I play, though, we sort of just say like in 1 to 2 sentences like what we're gonna do. Of like, oh yeah, I like the player phase starts and we're just trying to figure it out, and like I'll be like, yeah, I really need to recover. So like if someone could thwart, that'd be good. And the other person's like, oh, I have a lot of damage in my hand, so you guys can like thwart or do something else
Mm,
if you want.
yeah.
Or like, oh, I really need to play these upgrades and supports. Can you guys like cover for me while I do that? Like that
Mm,
type of thing was just like really quick. Yeah, because I really like that too, because it's not really like any one person's in charge. It's just like, here's what my hand can do, or
Mm-hmm.
like what I want to do, and like now let's like all say what we got. And sometimes it works out, and other times it's like two conflicting things. Like if two people need to like spend time uh playing upgrades and supports, but there's a lot of minions and side schemes out, it's like it's like a fun conversation at that point of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's decide together like
Right.
which one seems most beneficial for the team, and then
Mm-hmm.
like make that choice together. I really like that.
Yeah, it's like the complete opposite of table captaining, which is why I say something to watch out for. No, it's like everyone is working to make the decision on what to do. And like I said, I think the most fun is when there's conflicting ideas and someone has to take like a little bit of a hit, or maybe both of the players are like, well, I will hit my setup and the other player hits their setup so that we can not lose or be in threat of losing that round and then still get something else down on the table. I think it's interesting and again, it adds to the game. You're playing with other people. You're not playing four-handed, right? Like this one is an interesting one, and I don't know where you land on this. It's kind of like with my kind of informing people of rules a bit. We're talking about the unique rules specifically in multiplayer, and this can lead to some problems with like the what's it called, the table politics. And
Oh yeah,
my thoughts
I
on
have a
this,
this
my
one.
thoughts is that I find that the unique rule can definitely be annoying, especially if it's with people you've never played with before. But I will caveat that I purposefully like it as a point. I like it on certain cards because I feel like it's there to limit power. And I didn't put the picture of the card I wanted to put it, so I'll save for later. And I said and it also depends on the familiar and the vibe and basically everything that we've been saying this whole time. Where if you're doing like a multiversal themed game, knock yourself out. Like just go as crazy as you want. But if we're playing like a normal game where we're trying to challenge ourselves, or we're playing a challenge and like the unique rule interaction is like two Nick Furies and two Maria Hills, I'm just like, is this really something we should be breaking the unique rule for? Like, it's like at that point where it's kind of like snowballing into a win, and it's like these cards are limited for a reason. But I don't know, where do you land on this? I have no idea. This is something I don't think has been brought up
Yeah,
before.
it's for me, it's like it's mostly how we started playing.
Okay.
So if we're building decks together to go
Mm-hmm.
against a scenario, we build it with a unique rule in mind, and then we don't worry about it.
Got
But
it.
if we just like we just have two decks already built, and we're like, oh, I want to play this character, and we have like multiple Nick Furies or something, or multiple Maria Hills, or that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
we just ignore that.
Okay.
Um, or like another more common example would be like I'm playing a deck that's already put together, and my friend's like, "Oh, I want to play Nick Fury." I'm like, "Well, I have Nick Fury in my deck." It's like, do I really want to like go rebuild my deck or just like shut down like one of the cards or something? Like, not really. It's like we kind of ignore the unique rule on like a hero and an ally if because it's
Okay.
like I don't know, every other like 60 whatever characters, like I could play this card, but because you wanted to play that one,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that's just not that big of a deal. Yeah,
So
so I pretty much don't I don't purposefully try to break it,
okay.
but like I don't go out of my way to follow it. And then like on the theme side of it, like the theme is like, oh, Nick Fury can't be in two places at once, so that's why only one player can have him in play at the same time.
Right.
Like that's kind of like the idea. But that's
Mm-hmm.
really like sort of I cannot like my suspension of disbelief for that ends immediately when like Maria Hill gets punched in the face by Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and then you make the caller next turn, and she's like, "Well, I'm back." I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't know if Maria can actually take two Infinity Gauntlet powered punches from Thanos. I'm I'm a little doubtful on the on the
Yeah.
logistics of the unique rule for the theming on that.
Yeah, I what see that's I completely get that. I don't think it's super. I think initially it was put forth as a theming thing initially, but I think as the game went on, it was purposefully used for card balance, which is kind of like I wrote on here where I stand on it. Because, like I said, I don't think like if someone showed up to a game and they're like, "I'm playing Peter Parker Spider Man," and you're playing any Web Warrior and you need like the Spider Man ally, like I'm not gonna tell
Yeah,
someone like
that's a good
change your
example.
deck, right? Like, because I think in that point breaking the rule in that sense doesn't super matter. But then it's like, where is your line, right? So like, I like to, like you said, I like to play by it as most as I can, especially like you said, we're building or we're like a play group play a specific challenge or do a specific deck, I'll share my deck list beforehand and be like, let's make sure we're not running into like any kind of stepping on any toes, like playing double build supports or like double anything like that. But I do think it's kind of interesting. What's it called? I do think it is needed for specific cards, and the one that came to mind that I didn't put on here because I kind of forgot was yeah, I think the unique rule is very important for cards like the Web of Life and Destiny if you have more than one Web Warrior at the table, because then you get four of those down, and well, I don't think the game exists at that point anymore. It's
Yeah,
like
that's the point. It's like I think the Web Warriors are perfect for an example because like the Nick Fury thing, like that was just the ones I was on the screen,
right.
and they're it's kind of like a staple card that's not like super
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Of like, oh yeah, let's just have everyone playing Nick Fury at the same time. Like that's not a very good example, and like,
Yeah.
but I think the Web Warriors are really important. Like, imagine you're playing Ghost Spider, who has to be ready and has to be able to use her basic
Mm-hmm.
activation to use her cards, and the Peter Parker ally that readies her is like central to her deck. And it's just like, okay, well, I had my Peter Parker deck, so that means you don't get to play your Keystone ally of your
Yeah.
deck. Like that's so lame. And then it's
Yeah.
also so lame to be like, well, I know you have this Peter Parker deck that you want to play, but actually because I have my ally in the deck, you're not I don't want you to play it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like a really different example. But then the other thing that you brought up, like if it's actually changing the balance of the game, like I do think that makes more sense because like if everyone's playing Web Warriors and ignoring the unique rule, and then it's like everyone has four there's four copies of the Peter Parker ally out, and then everyone's readying each other and then getting card draw of them leaving. Like
Yeah.
that is a bit
Yeah,
much.
when
That's
Allies play, there's four cards that goes out every time. You're bouncing it, readying it with 2099, four cards, four cards, four cards, just
yeah.
out over and
So I
over.
think my previous statement where I was very flippantly ignoring it, I will add an addendum based off what you said of I I ignore it in the cases where I didn't prepare beforehand, and
Hmm.
I'm just trying to play a deck together and it's just like inconvenient to follow it,
Hmm.
and I follow it in cases where it would change the balance so much.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal if I play the Maria Hill ally while the Maria Hill hero is at the table.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't really break the game, but if it does, if it is like changing the balance too much, like everyone's playing Moon Girl all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for like that's a little much, and I
Yeah.
would I would follow the unique rule there.
I would agree on that, and I think where it kind of standing for you is that you kind of the hero ally one you're not really a big fan of, and I would agree with you. That's one that I, even for me, and we'll get into this in, I think, the next and quote unquote final slide, where it's kind of like a rule I'll break often, where it's just like either
Yeah,
whether
you
usually
can
it's
fight the
not.
hero against the villain too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, they
fine.
they also updated it, right? Because like now they say that the villain doesn't count towards a unique rule in the new 1.7 or whatever. So you can use Iron Man to fight Iron Man. So it's just like it's like one of those things where, again, unless you're not actually altering the balance or you're playing multiples of like that same ally, right? Like everyone's a champion or everyone's a genius, and they're playing Moon Girl recursion with regroup every single turn. Like, okay, we are doing something here that was never intended to exist, right?
Yeah,
But
and
when you're doing
on a theme.
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
you can go
No,
on.
no, 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 no. I
Okay.
was
On a
basically
theme
done.
perspective too, like if I'm playing the Peter Parker hero and you're playing like Spider Gwen with the Peter Parker or sorry, Ghost Spider with the
Yeah.
Peter Parker ally,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel unthematic to me that my hero could just be represented as a different form that's
Yeah.
helping you right there. But it
Hmm.
does feel unthematic of me to and it would break that if I'm playing the Peter Parker ally in my Peter Parker deck
Right. Yeah. That
like
makes
that,
sense.
and I think that's a good representation, especially with like PvP that just came out. Like let's say like I choose the Captain Marvel leader to represent me against you, and I'm playing the Captain Marvel hero as well. That feels
Hmm.
like two different forms of like what Carol Danvers is doing in
Right.
that game. That doesn't break the theme for me at all of like, oh yeah, Carol Danvers is over here and she's also on doing something over there.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't really break it for me. But yeah, I don't really want to add. Yeah, I don't like adding the ally to my deck.
Hmm.
That's too much.
I think we got everything we wanted to say on the unique rule. I think it's think it's important in the later kind of iterations of the game as a balancing lever for a lot of supports and upgrades specifically. But we didn't even talk about like Quinn
Yeah.
Carrier, Helicarrier, or sorry, Quinn Carrier, X Jet, or anything like that. X Jet got around it because you could tap it for any X-Men identity, but the Quinn Carrier doesn't. That's the one that's still only for you, which is,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it just
It's funny that, like, it feels really weird that, like, I like the helicarrier not so much because I can picture Shield having like a bunch of helicarriers around,
right.
but the Avengers Mansion not being unique, but the Quinn carrier being unique is a little weird to me.
I think that was a gameplay concession if I had to think about it because it's a four-player box, so it's like, well, it kind of sucks if only one person can have this mansion and only one person can have a helicarrier. Not that I would think that helicarrier would ever be unique traded, but Avengers Mansion, I feel like if it came out today, it would be, right? Because that is a place, right? Like that is a one singular place. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, I think it was just a gameplay concession. I think if they went back to like redo the core box, I think they would probably make it something else. I don't know, maybe it'd be like, but it'd be so lame if it's. I don't know. I feel like Avengers Mansion is kind of iconic probably
Avengers.
because of how old
Wait,
it
they
is.
did make Avengers Compound
Yeah,
just now. I
but
was gonna say that.
well, I was gonna say like compound. It's not like, oh, there can be a lot of Avengers compounds. Okay, I can suspend my disbelief. So what would it be like? Supply room or something? That's why you can draw a card. That'd be so lame theming though. Shield
Yeah,
supply room or something. Who knows? I don't know. Something we've kind of been alluding to kind of the whole time, and I think it kind of ties together the end of this table politics, talking about like purposeful cheats. And so kind of the thing you brought up, I'm not sure if it was probably before we were recording, which is
I think it was off the
dealing,
recording.
yeah,
Yeah.
dealing with player elimination in multiplayer games. So I'll let you talk about like purposeful cheats, any kind of ones you do, and you can talk about this because I kind of just
Oh
wrote out what
yeah,
you said.
my biggest purposeful cheat is every gameplay video I do. I make sure I add Nick Fury into the top of in
That's a
my starting
classic.
eight.
That's a
But then
classic.
other than that,
Dude, I feel
but then
so
other
bad
than that,
every time. Side note, every time I start a gameplay video and I draw Nick Fury, I'm like, dude, everyone's gonna think I'm cheating, bro. I always keep the shuffling. I always keep the shuffle. No,
yeah,
specifically if I start off and I win the game, I will keep the shuffling in that recording just so like just so people aren't like, oh, of course you start off with the
yeah.
Nick Fury starting solo. No, I'm just.
Yeah, so the multiplayer games, like in especially in 3 and 4 player, where it's not just like a co-op, not just a 2 player thing. It's really, really, really lame when someone gets eliminated when it's not close to the end. Like if it's
Mhm.
right before the final push, we usually leave it. But if it's like the first turn, we'll either undo it or just scoop and reset. And then if
Mhm.
it's in the middle of the game where it's like there's still like an hour left to get through, um, we usually just like either undo it or say that we blocked with an ally or do something else because it's just so lame. Especially when like the way it works is the difficulty stays like if it's a 3 player game, the difficulty stays 3 player, but then there's only 2 of you. So it's just like, oh, here's this bonus difficulty. You're just playing a harder mode of 2 player now while your friend just sits in the corner for an hour while the other people play. That's just so lame.
Yeah.
Like it's lame enough to where I don't do it because it's just like who
Yeah.
wants to like go to their friend's house and play a game of Marvel Champions? Be like, well, unfortunately, I got a surge attack on turn 3, so I guess for the next 2 hours, I'm just gonna watch over here in the corner while you guys have a lot of fun. Like that's just not something that any me or any of my friends want to do.
Yeah. And I think that approach is pretty fair. I'm kind of in a similar vein where it's like it's early, just pick up and scoop or just undo it. But very often, if I feel like we're over kind of that midway point of the game, I think is how I would describe it for myself. I feel like we're kind of on the downward slope, or we're kind of like building up towards like a push, and someone gets defeated, whether they're doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, or just whatever happens. We'll usually, if there is an ally on the board, we'll just be like, yeah, the ally blocked it, right? Like even if someone is like keeping the ally around because like they wanted to get an extra activation, that's something that I'm very guilty of. Like if my allies have 1 HP, I will give you them blocks for free. But after playing a little bit of like Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, oh, I should just be using my allies fully before I block with them, because like I would block with allies with like 2 health sometimes, 3 health sometimes. I'm just like, this is, I should not be doing this. So I'm like, I'll leave my allies up. I want them to activate, but like if someone would have gotten eliminated, I'm like, okay, you can take my 3 HP ally. I would have never actually done that block, but like they died to like a 4 boost, like you said, or maybe it was like a I don't know. There's some of the encounter sets where it's like if this is an undefended
Like
attack, it gains
standard
like
two.
3 boost icons or
Yeah, here's
something.
an
Yeah.
attack with overkill, and then also it surges after, and then you just get attacked again, and then that happens in the daring difficulty sometimes.
It happened to me. We've played it twice, right? I've hit total annihilation into an attack 2 times, I think, in games we've played. It was
Yeah,
an
you were particularly
overkill
unlucky
attack
with it.
into an attack like 2 times in that game. It's just
Yeah,
crazy. But yeah, no, and again, I think there's other like kind of like purposeful cheats where it'll be like I don't know if this falls under the same thing, but making decisions to keep the game moving. I guess it kind of ties into rules lawyering where it's like I don't know how this interaction works, and it's an interaction that's going to come up a million times. Maybe someone's bringing a hero that I don't not super familiar with. Maybe that hero causes interactions in this scenario we're playing that no one has ran into before, and I'm just like, we're gonna rule it this way, and we're gonna play the game because I don't feel like looking it up. Essentially, right? Like regardless if it works this way or that way, if we consistently rule it this way, like the game is like fine, right? Like we've played it one way the entire time, and you just play through it.
yeah,
I personally found that I don't like slowing down the game to look it up if I don't think it's a super impactful ruling. Like, um,
yeah. I don't really either. Yeah, it was honestly like I think I had talked about it in like a really sad like a sad video on my channel called
mhm,
like I'm done playing Marvel Champions on the
right,
channel because I was in this it was around the time Agents of Shield went out and like the rules were just like ruining my experience to where I was just like every game I played I was like oh no like all of these different things that are coming up that like really don't matter that much but I just can't stop thinking about but then the
right,
6 month break really helped with that.
yeah. No, I think that's really good, and it's something that I used to. Again, it depends on the play group. If you want to do like a challenge, you want to try and play it to the best of your ability, and you guys are all there to do that. Look up the rules, like verify your rulings. If you're sitting down at a pug game and you just want to chill and have a good time, just rule it and keep it moving. That's what I always say. And you don't always have to grim rule it either. They do something about that? Like they
Grimroll's often
removed it.
wrong.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the
exactly.
times you look up the you find the actual rule, like more times than not, it works out in your favor in my experience.
Yeah. So it's grim rule isn't a very good rule in general. So just pick a way to rule it and have fun. Other purposeful cheats, I can't think of any more other than like maybe purposefully kind of ignoring the unique rule. But I think that this is something that everyone on your table should be on board with. It's also something you have to like
I'd say like
verbalize,
maybe
but
balance issues. Like I haven't done this necessarily, but like if someone's playing Hulk at the table and they wanted to say like, oh, I have 6 hand size and alter ego and I don't have to discard my hand at the end of my turn, I would not bat an eye at that.
yeah.
You're like, oh no, oh no, what if Hulk had like just didn't have an actively negative text box?
The
Oh, is this gonna break
only
the
hero
game?
in the game, by the
Meanwhile, like
way.
Cable and Doctor Strange and Maria Hill are just like in the corner being like, yeah, you can't do that, Hulk. You're not allowed to hold your limitless strength in your hand because like then it would make me feel worse about my helicarrier and my A6 tough status cards and like a free upgrade for everyone.
Yeah, man, I think that's one of those things where, yeah, I've played with people who've home ruled a couple things, or like playing with custom heroes is kind of, it's not on the same vein because that's just like you're accepting that this doesn't exist in the game and you're just chilling with it, right? So it doesn't matter. But like if someone wanted to play like a Hulk with like a permanent upgrade that makes him like playable, I'm with you. I'm gonna like sure, man. Like it's for me, it's no different than sitting at the table with a custom hero. And at the con, I played a couple custom heroes. I played with a couple custom scenarios. They were all good experiences for the most part. It really doesn't affect you that much, and it's don't I don't know. It's just like weird to be that guy where it's like, well, I don't want to play with the custom hero, or like you can be that guy, but it's just be like, oh, I'm just gonna like I don't know. There's like a way to do it that isn't like weird. I think, in my opinion, just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to a
Yeah.
different table or something, or make an excuse, right? Because sometimes people don't want to play with it, and like I respect whatever reason. Like it doesn't like it's not like it's a scathing remark if you don't want to play with like custom heroes or custom scenarios or like kind of homebrew fixes. And again, you don't have to like that stuff or want to play with it, but it's like, again, having grace and being like, well, I'm just gonna excuse myself or something, right? Like, it's just something
I
like
guess a
that.
purposeful cheat that you brought up is like vision,
Oh
like
yeah,
with the
the
hand
vision.
size.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, just like they like rules that because I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but like rules that are just like so lame on the technical ruling.
Yes,
Um, I
yes.
I I don't mind if people ignore that
Yeah,
like at
I
all.
think
I don't.
if my understanding was correct on how Vision was originally played, he drew 6 cards. But since your setup cards aren't in play when you draw up in the new timing, you have a 5 printed hand size, so you draw 5. I'm like, that's so lame. Like, this is so lame. I don't want to do that. Like, I'm just gonna play it with 6. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would not. I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah,
I just hang out.
exactly, exactly. And I like to leave. I put Get Good on here because I think it's kind of funny. I've played this card in multiplayer, and it's really funny because you can aggressively make use of this. I like this card. It's funny. I just thought it was topical with talking about player
Yeah,
elimination. um, but yeah, I think that's
yeah.
a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking like there's that other card that if you lost your game of, or it's this one.
Yeah,
Or
it
do
is this
yeah,
one.
if you
Yeah,
lost your like if you just like are trying to beat Ronin and you just like purposefully just like, oh well, I'll just let him hit me in the face and then you just go next. Or if you just like would pretend that you had just lost to Ronin
yeah,
instead of going through the pain to
yeah.
play it.
I like this card. I
Like, that's
think
a
it's
good one.
awesome, and I love that it affects any player in multiplayer, which I think is the more fun
Oh,
part of it.
another purposeful cheat with pool. Like do you wait the full time for break time? The one where you have to wait a minute for like every
Oh,
hit point
I
healed. Like,
think
do you wait the whole time, or do you like maybe just like go get a drink of water and then come back and don't set a timer?
I don't know how I'm gonna have an unpopular or a charred take on this one. I'm a big stickler, and I don't actually care, but I like pretending that I care. I would wait the whole time, and I would make sure the
Yeah,
whole table waited the whole time. And no, the biggest one
yeah.
for me is Spider Ham. If you're sitting at my table playing Ham, you have to do everything on his cards, bro. I'm gonna harp you on it and make fun of
Oh
you the
yeah, the
whole
flavor
game.
text.
Yes, you have
You gotta
to.
like stick your tongue out at the
You
villain and
have to
stuff.
point at it. You have to wiggle your. If you're coming up with Ham, you gotta play Ham. That's what I'm. That's what I think. Oh, the
Yeah,
funniest thing
yeah.
is Merc with the mouth. Deadpool's obligation. When I play him, I
Oh yeah,
love
yeah.
getting that. It's so fun to play the turn just
That's
pointing
one
at
I always
things.
follow very strictly whenever I get that too. I find I'd like workarounds because it says you can't talk, but like sometimes I'll like write something on a piece of paper or like that type of thing, or
No,
like point
I
very
just try
aggressively.
miming it. Like I try miming like a thwart action on like the scheme or like what I'm gonna do. Like
Yeah, like or like just holding up like your event and being like
yeah,
this
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Well, not saying, but just
No, I think stuff like that is fun and like you said, would I wait the whole thing for break time? Yes, usually. Unless someone's really in a rush and they're like, let's just heal to full. Okay, that's boring. But no, I'll be like, no,
yeah.
man, take the 10
You play
minutes to
like
heal to
Hulk with
full.
symbiote suit, and then you're like, yeah, we gotta wait like 28 minutes
Yeah, I think hold.
to heal, or 27 if you had one health left.
And we'll move to the end here because I think we've already gotten to the anything else. This awesome slide that I think we'll leave here because I don't know what I was thinking
Yeah,
making this. Yeah. I think that was about it. I think table politics are kind of interesting to talk about and something that, like I said, I wanted to talk about more multiplayer on the channel. So it's something that if anyone on my channel who watch solo or solo gameplay is thinking about making the move to multiplayer, these are things, couple things to just consider if you just been sitting here and listening to us yap for probably about an hour. I just thought it was an interesting topic. I thought a lot of the things I'd been talking about recently kind of culminated into this one thing.
I think that just just be a normal person, not normal. Be the kind of person that you wish you were playing with.
Yeah, like the golden rule type of
Just
thing.
golden rule it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
grim
You
rules,
want
golden
someone.
rules.
Yeah, the golden rule is in the book too, though.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's the card text trumps the rule book.
Boom. Okay,
That's just
but
rules lawyered. I just got done saying
yeah,
talking
no
about how
rules,
anti-rules
Lord.
lawyer, and then I'm just like, actually,
Yeah,
there
we
is a golden
rules
rule.
lawyered the video. That's crazy. It's a new level of rules lawyering. But I think that's about it. I thought that was a fun chat. Um, you know, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, do all the YouTube fun things. Where can they find you, Daring Lime? You want to shout yourself out before we wrap it up?
You just, I think I'm the only daring line that I know of. So just search it somewhere. It should come up.
Boom. There you go. The best shill of all time. That was the best segue I've ever heard. Yeah, just look up the Daring Lime. You'll find it. I mean, he's not wrong. That's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me today, Daring Lime. We'll have a couple more of these videos in the future coming out. I don't know if we are naming the series anything at large, but got a weekly recording cadence hopefully getting locked in. So we'll have more topics on both channels. So make sure to check it out. Subscribe if you aren't already, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. See y'all.